How's it going? Welcome to this episode of Fucking About in the Shed with Matt. Today I thought I'd have a little bit of a look at ear protection. I was lucky enough to get some kind of fancy isotunes Bluetooth earmuff things for my birthday recently. Got me thinking about ear protection, and so I'm going to show you all of the things that I have. I'll have a bit of a chat about the Australian standard, what to expect from your earmuffs, and my experience with the variety that I use on a fairly regular basis. Righto, let's go and hook in and have a look. Right, so the first thing we'll have a look at here is probably my oldest ones. These you may recognise if you have had earmuffs for a while. These have served well, but to be honest, they're not the most comfortable. If you have a look here, this pad here, the cavity inside is relatively small, and so they tend to touch my earlobes. Not great for comfort, but they do the job. They are marked with an Australian standard, but I don't know what class they are, which we'll get to in a second. These ones here are, for a basic earmuff that you can get from the Big Green Shed, pretty good. These are a class 5, which means that is the highest rating for noise attenuation. You can Google up the EMU 44 series, they're Australian standard. These are good, reasonably comfortable, bigger hole here. They do a pretty good job. And then I've got a couple little in-ear ones here that are also class 5. Again, these will do a job for noisier situations. I feel like these are okay, but I don't like in-ear stuff. I like to have my ears covered. I find these get uncomfortable, and because often my earmuffs come off and on depending on what I am doing, these can be annoying. Right, this stuff here is class 4. So not quite as good at noise attenuation or breakdown, but suitable for probably what most of us are doing in a shed workshop, fucking about in the garage sort of situation. You can see these in-ear ones are not opened. Again, not my favourite thing. Different version, class 5. Again, get those at the Green Shed. These things here, eye muffs. Premise is you don't have anything across the top of your head. Class 4. I use these on the lawnmower, using the chainsaw, and a little bit in the shed. Big advantage here, if you're outside you can wear a hat, get good protection for your eyes and your ears, quite adjustable, and these lenses are replaceable. I've got a few sitting in my stash of goodies, so as they get dirty or scratched up, which they're gonna, you can replace them and keep using them. I actually really like this product. If you search up eye muffs, the guy's an Australian fella, and he has electronic versions as well, or Bluetooth versions as well, which are pretty good quality as far as I can tell from a 5-minute test at one of the local field days. Good product, well worth the spend. Now, these are class 5 and class 4. These meet an Australian standard, and so if you're looking to provide yourself or maybe a team with OH&S compliant stuff, this here is where it's at. Your class 5 is around 27 to 29 decibels attenuation. The class 4 is around 24. These Bluetooth jobbies are both 24 decibels attenuation to the American standard. They are not tested to the Australian New Zealand standard. That isn't necessarily a big deal because they still do a good job and they still meet a measurable standard. I'll start with the tactics. These are a offering from the Big Green Shed. Less than $100, certainly when I got them. Good work time, good sound quality, reasonably comfortable. Interesting shape here. You'll notice the bottom here, it pinches a little bit. Not sure that this is the perfect shape. The other thing, and you can't really tell because of, you can't touch it, the vinyl here for the muff component is quite firm. These are okay for a period of time, but wearing them all day I would suggest, certainly for me, not perfect comfort wise. reasonable battery life. The twisty knob here is actually quite good. This is your on off and your volume control. When it's on the side of your head and you can't see, these are easy to use to adjust your volume. You can take a phone call on them. There's a microphone buried here somewhere, but call quality is pretty, nah, it's not great. I would take them off and just use your phone. And the isotunes. Now these, lots of people use them. I've had a bit more social media exposure recently, and I've only had these a couple days. What I will say is this: the cavity here is nice. It's a good size, goes around my lobes, comfortable. The vinyl here, soft, pushes on my head nicely. I can wear my glasses and it doesn't push the frames into my ears. That's a big deal. Sound quality from the speakers is good. Perhaps not high-end Beats or Sennheiser or whatever that brand is, or whatever the other big brands are. Perhaps not that good, but the sound quality is good when you're playing music. Noise attenuation is good. It would take a bit of getting used to for the buttons, but I think if you use these regularly, it would become reasonably intuitive. These have a limit to the sound output, which means you can't have the music too loud. So there's a bit of thought gone to that. I have tested these to make a phone call. Now, to be fair, there was fuck all background noise, but the sound quality was good. Noise mitigation on these when playing music seems to be better than when not. I'm not saying it is, but I feel like it might be. Which is the best one? To be honest, it depends what you're doing. I don't always like to listen to music. If I'm doing something menial like sanding, or like earlier today where I was cutting a bunch of domino holes, music's nice. You're doing a menial task, you can just sort of sit there and get into a rhythm. But sometimes, and more often than not for me, I want a basic earmuff, something that I can take off and on, chuck on the bench and not really care too much. Something like this, you're going to be a little bit more mindful of dropping it, or just tossing it at something. These take a beating. Often on the head, these are okay. Not great for an extended period of time, to be clear, but I use these a lot. And these, like I said, I really like these. They're great for if I've got to wear a hat. They're great for being able to flip your goggles up and down. So they twist here, so then you can have your earmuffs on, lift your goggles, have a bit of a look, put your goggles back down, winner. So there you have it. Earmuffs, they're a bit of a personal thing from the point of view that they're on your face or on the side of your face. Comfort is, I think, a really big deal, and I've covered these here in a way I hope that allows you to be a bit more considerate when you go and shop. Have a look at the Muff itself, make sure there's a big space for your lobe. Feel the vinyl if you can. These, for all of the things, the vinyl on these is harder than the isotunes, but these are still okay because they've got a big cavity for my lobe. If you like earplugs and they don't bother you, you don't find them uncomfortable, then particularly if you're sitting on a machine or you don't have to take them off and on or in and out, earplugs are probably fine. They're certainly cheap and to a large extent somewhat disposable. My recommendation, go for a Muff. You don't have to spend a lot of money to get something that can be comfortable, and I feel like they do a better job even though they are class rated. As far as the Bluetooth job is with music, they do a job, and outside of the lack of a compliance or a meeting of the Australian-New Zealand standard, they will still protect your ears in a meaningful way. Anyway, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I hope I've been helpful. I hope I've given you a little something to think about. If you like what I do, go and check out my other vids. If you're into a bit of a subscribe, that would be excellent. And if you feel like it, chuck me a like. Meantime, have a great afternoon.